employment generation capacity of the place. From Zakaria Unadabo, Radio Nigeria, Kaduna, on the team. Your Excellency Ochudo, what informed your focus on roads and bridges and less attention for primary healthcare facilities? 2. Honorable Minister, will you say the projects inspected in Ebonyi State rhyme with the National Development Plan of the federal government? From Orie Callista's Omunna in Ontario, Texas, via Twitter. I left Nigeria for the US a month ago as I joined my brother who has a green card. Now that you are live on the social network, I want Your Excellency to tell the world the situation of former workers of the defunct Ebonyi Broadcasting Service employed and confirmed that's in 2007, but sacked by your administration in 2009. From Ifeanyi Chukwu in Sao Tome and Principe via email. I am an indigene of Ebonyi State in this country. What's your plan with regards to cultural promotion? From Chidimma Iheanacho, a student studying mathematics in Ghana. Chidimma, she contributed via Twitter. Your Excellency, our dear Ochudo, you have the power to reduce bride price in Ebonyi. My fiancée is a fresh graduate from Ghana, and we hope to get married at the end of the year. The problem is high cost of rights. Help. From Eze Obaka in Bangladesh. Eze Obaka in Bangladesh by email. Our dear Ochudo, I have been living in Bangladesh for 5 years now. Any plans for us in the diaspora? We want to render our expertise in the structural development of our state too. This one is also via Twitter from Oji. What is holding the full implementation of minimum wage in Ebonyi State? This one is from Emeka in Abakaliki via SMS. I want to use this opportunity to thank the federal government for this opportunity to confront our leaders and ask questions. This is for the governor. Your Excellency, you have done very well. Please, the grain silo, the silo project that has been abandoned for years, this is not fair. Where it is located, I don't know. But he said, please help to ensure that it is completed. To the Minister, Malan Labaran, I am surprised that you did not visit that project, sir. From Comrade Chukuma Ngota, kudos to Governor Martin Elechi for building the Staff Development Center, which enhances capacity and improved productivity output of the state's workforce. I'm suggesting that National Good Governance Tour should be organized periodically to showcase government activities and programs at all levels. I want to use this medium and salute the Honorable Minister of Information, Mr. Labaran Maku, for this bold initiative and wish him and his team well. Comrade Chukuma Ngota, Eza North Local Government Area, Ebonyi State. This one is typewritten from Ekawoke Community, Ikwo Local Government Area. Ekawoke Community. I want to commend the Governor, Chief Martin Elechi, for his transformation the transformational projects he embarked upon for the rapid development of Ebonyi State. Your policy on education has made Ebonyi children to lead and represent Nigeria in the World Secondary School debate for the past 3 years now. Also, your policy of attitudinal change, which brought unity and honesty to the state, and your reward for excellence shown in how a policeman from Nasarawa State who confronted armed robbers was rewarded by the state building a house for him in his home state is a case point. Indeed, you're wonderful. Well, that will be that for now. If you're there, please come over. Peter.
Thank you, Yahya. Your Excellency, the questions are not over yet. We would now revert to members of the public who would come forward here. You raise up your hands, you tell us your name, the organization or the community you are coming from. Thereafter, you throw your question. So the floor is now open. I think I will start from my right. You're sure your question has not been... Okay, come.
Your Excellencies, I am Comrade Chukwuma Onwe, appreciating you, my governor. The president of Atawu is here. Sir, all over Nigeria, every Ratawu member, all broadcast organizations in Nigeria receive 22.5% of the weigh-in. Ebonyi State has not started enjoying it. So what is our expectation? You are a very good governor to Ebonyi State, sir.
Yes, come.
My name is Charles Otto. I write for the Voice newspapers, Abakaliki. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, my question goes to the Minister of Information. I was in the tour and I saw a lot of things, but there is an area that I want you to address, the Minister. We have a comparative advantage in an oil deposit we have at Ezeda in Afikpo South local government. Some time ago, the Commissioner for Cement said the federal government was studying the site. I would want to know the status of that investigation now and whether this cannot be harnessed to shore up the revenue of Ebonyi State. Thank you very much.
Yes, in the middle here. Anybody in the middle? Okay. Can you come forward? Yes. Please come forward. Who is this one?
Your Excellencies, my name is Comrade Chinedu Oga, OON, National President of Ebonyi Youth Assembly. My own is a commendation. The Honorable Minister, we just want to draw your attention that you at all have not visited in the aspect of youth empowerment. I want to bring to your notice what made the crime to reduce drastically in Ebonyi State is the achievement of Chief Martin Elechi. The most youth in Ebonyi State have been empowered in all ramifications. And today we have almost about 350 youth have gotten jobs in all the federal parastatals in this federation, courtesy of our dear governor and the people around the area. And I want to inform us here that the governor, with his achievement, have trained almost about 300 youths in different sectors in agricultural empowerment. And the government have given them grants to establish their own industry in different areas. If you have time, you would have visited so many other places. But there is a question for you, sir. The question is this. Why is it that in this year at all, there is no any chief editor in Sun, Vanguard, New, other print media that is following you? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, I am Chris Mary Emeko Kachuku. I represent the Miners Association in Ebonyi State chapter. I would like to take a question and a remark if I'm allowed. My question is, it has been established that Ebonyi State is among the list that gets budgetary allocations from Abuja. And there seems to be a consensus here too that the executive government of Ebonyi State has been able to achieve so much with so little. The Honorable Minister on Information will be able to tell us if the transformational agenda will not be a holistic thing. Won't we also try to transform and achieve that to this kind of government and leadership, which has been proved to be able to achieve so much with so little, should more not be given? My remark then is, because the Honorable Minister said that Ebonyi State is keyed to overtake most of the southeastern states, and his point or bullet point was on agriculture. Let me remind, okay, no lecture, I'm sorry. But the greatest potential of Ebonyi State is in the East solid minerals. That one has not been touched. The federal government seems to have recognized this when he cited the Southeast Solid Mineral Buying Center here in Abakaliki. But it's been moribund for 8 years. I'm sorry for short of time. If it is possible, so much has been done by His Excellency. He visited that facility once, thanks to the leadership of the Honorable Commissioner of Commerce and Industry. It has been war, both from Trade and Investment Ministry. Well, I am sorry, but time would not allow us. The solid mineral potentials of Ebonyi State is the next greatest news in the Nigerian economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. Do we have any lady in the middle? Okay, can 3 of you from the middle just come over here and queue? Just 3.
Please, let's be orderly. 3 people only for now. Only when you are called, please. Only when you are called. Okay, let's start with this gentleman. Please, let's be orderly. You sit down until you are called, please. You can go back, sir. We know where we call the 3. You can go, yes, okay, queue up. Only this one.
Just queue up that side. Queue up and straight to the point.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, our indefatigable Governor, His Excellency Chief Martin Elechi. I stand on existing protocol. I want to make a remark here that most importantly, the good governance tour may not have noted that Governor Elechi is one of the governors who, since he assumed office, has never used caretaker committee under the local government council to operate. That he conducts local government elections as at when due, and this is highly commendable. Secondly, I want to draw the attention of the governor to the importance of the civil society in every governance. And I want to say that the National Council of NGOs and civil society organizations in Nigeria have tried to pay courtesy call to His Excellency so many times, and this failed. And I want to urge His Excellency to give them the audience, as this will help in projecting this laudable project he's consolidating in Ebonyi State. Thank you.
Be brief, sir.
Hello. May I? All right. Your Excellency, I appreciate you so much. My name is John N. Iboke, the former Deputy National Leader of PDP from Oshiri in Onitsha LGA. My own historical question, I want to convey a message to the Honorable Minister, to the Presidency. There's one federal government agency that is located at Oshiri in Onitsha LGA. That's Oshiri Cattle Ranch, that was established in 1985 and was commissioned in 1992 by Baghdad administration. Up to this moment, that particular cattle ranch has been moribund. Nothing is happening there. We hear that staffs are being posted there, but nothing is going on in that cattle ranch. And up till now, a vast land has been occupied by the federal government, and we are appealing that if the federal government is not willing to do something with that land, now that agriculture is the order of the day, they should relinquish the land to the people so that we can make use of it. Thank you, and God bless you.
Let the lawyer.
Your Excellencies, all other protocols duly observed. Barrister Onyekachi Nwebonyi is my name, from Nigeria Bar Association, and from Ebonyi local government of Ebonyi State. To the federal government through the Honorable Minister. The Honorable Minister, sir, my question goes on the federal rules in Ebonyi State. Even though you have touched those areas, but my question is this. Why is this that, even though there are projects ongoing at the federal roads, but why is it that the contractors are on snail speed? When you look at Enugu on the Abakaliki Road, it's not something to go by. The contractors only resume work when they feel the presence of federal government agency, just like they are doing when they saw you. Why is it that the work is on snail speed? Two, let me finish. Two, the Onitsha Second Bridge. I am an Igbo man from Ebonyi State. Onitsha Second Bridge. The Onitsha, yes. The Niger Second Bridge. Yes. Why is it that for some time now, we've heard that the contract has been awarded by the federal government? The last 2 months when I went for a case at Akure, I was expecting to use the second Niger Bridge, but I saw nothing. Yes, Your Excellency. Please, we want to know the reason. Lastly, to the federal government, we have another federal road in Ebonyi State. That is Ojiwiboko Idoma Road. This road, for some time now, have not come to limelight, but it's a road linking Ebonyi and Benue State down to Jos. It's called Ojiwiboko State. This Ojiwiboko was created by the then paramount ruler, Wiboko Bodo. His Excellency knows the road I'm talking about. Now to the state government. Your Excellency, you are a wonderful man. You've done a lot, and we are proud of you. You've justified the mandate we gave you. But Your Excellency, I have 2 questions for you. Following the merging of the state teaching hospital with the federal teaching hospital, now Your Excellency, what plan have you to create state teaching hospital in view of the dire need to have a state teaching hospital? Because the absence of the state teaching hospital, as a matter of fact, has caused a lot of havoc on our students. As I'm talking to you, no medical student was given admission in EBSU because of the absence of the state teaching hospital. Lastly, Your Excellency, during your campaign, you promised the people of Isheke in Ebonyi local government that you are going to start cement industry somewhere in Ebonyi local government. Following the discovery of the raw materials in Ebonyi local government. But up to now, Your Excellency, despite our need to give the land, we have not seen the presence of engineers in the site. Thank you, and may God bless you.
My question is a very simple one, and it is addressed to the Honorable Minister of Information. I am Weke Joseph of Nigerian Labour Congress. Now, it is obvious that His Excellency has done more than the oil states. Is there not a way you, the Honorable Minister of Information, could use your position, having seen he has done so much on a very little resources, to ask the federal government to increase the allocation that is usually given to Ebonians, so that much more could be done when the legacy will be there and workers will be highly motivated.
Okay. My name is Peter I.Eze. I have 3 questions for the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, sir. Honorable Minister, sir. The Oji River Powerhouse gave light to the whole of eastern Nigeria before the Nigerian crisis. But since that crisis ended, that powerhouse has not been revamped. What are you thinking about it? Number 2, Ebonyi State has problems with, at the borders with other states like Benue and Cross River. What is the Federal Boundary Commission doing to demarcate these boundaries to avoid loss of life and property? Finally, my last question is on FEMA. Is FEMA existent in Ebonyi State? Thank you very much.
My name is Honorable Barrister Parkins Uzo. I'm a legal practitioner based in Abakaliki. And by the grace of God, I am the pioneer essay on media and public affairs to the first executive governor of Ebonyi State. I have 2 questions for the Honorable Minister for information. 1, why is it that we don't have ministry for the disabled in this country? 2, why is it that there is no physical challenged person in your team? Is disability an abomination? I want to commend my governor for his dynamic role in alleviating the plight of the physically challenged persons in Ebonyi State. He has provided for these people. In fact, today, we are not only celebrating the supremacy of hope, we are also celebrating the supremacy of solidarity. I want to commend him. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Brief, please, so that other people can have a chance. Here on your name, sir. Look at the camera, sir.
Your Excellencies, I am Comrade Chris Eze, Ebonyi State Broadcasting Corporation, BBC. My own questions are in terms of education. Sir, before now, there is this High Park program that I've been running, and I've been sending Ebonians abroad to study from what the Honorable Commission talked about in terms of consultancy. I think because of that program, a lot of Ebonians now are consultants. What is that program? Is that program dead? And again, what of the free education that have been going on? Because a lot of people have been asking, if the free education is still on, what is the modality or what is the way that it has been piloting? Then in terms of the university, it has been on air that the only university, the state university have been privatized. Is it true? Then for the Honorable Commissioner, a great Josite, UI Joha, in terms of the road now that you talked about in the southeast, you talked about the Enugu-Parakot road that have been going on. Why is it that Enugu-Abakaliki road is only being rehabilitated instead of dualization? Thank you. I'm Chris Eze.
My name's Diamond Dokewu Sunday. My question is for the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, it is no longer news that Ebonyi State has been placed in the front burner of the federal government in the federal government agricultural transformation agenda. And my question is this: what is the federal government doing to develop to develop irrigation scheme in Ebonyi State in order to sustain the much celebrated rice company that you've talked much about in this very particular program. And secondly, I want to appreciate you for initiating this very particular program, trying to reach the entire people of this country. You are welcome.
My name is Daniel Lugu, Pastor Daniel Lugu Obiese. I'm standing for commendation and appeal. I commend His Excellency. He has scattered wealth all over the state. Only the poor mind and lazy mind could not be able to gather from the wealth. I say God bless him. Not question. Appeal. He is Elijah of this season for this state. And I wish when he will be leaving, let him succeed himself with Elijah. Again, there is 118-kilometer road distance over there in Ohozra, Ugulangu, Okosi Road. Let him include it before he finishes his tenure. Finally, the Honorable Minister has gone to other states. People gave him other presents. In fact, he has seen 25% of what His Excellency has done. And I'm giving him this book authored by somebody so that he will hear more of what His Excellency has done. I want for Bango to say my name. Thank you.
My name is Abu George Abuchi. I stand here to represent a number of best graduating students of Ebonyi State University. During the third convocation ceremony of Ebonyi State University, His Excellency awarded scholarship and automatic job employment to 23 best graduating students of the university. We all gathered here to appreciate the governor, to tell him that we really appreciate what he has done. But there is no time for all of us to come out here and make this presentation. But we were motivated by the speech of the Honorable Minister when he said that democracy is not just about structures, it's also about human capital development. This governor has done a lot in this direction. There was a first batch of this novelty program. A lot of best graduating students from this university are in top-notch universities around the world. Most of them are doing their PhD programs. And here are we now. We have been also selected and awarded a scholarship. So we really want to appreciate the governor through this medium. I say may God bless him. Thanks.
My name is Godfrey Chikwere, a media practitioner. I'm asking this question to the Minister of Information. Nkalago community is in Ebonyi. Nkala is in Ebonyi. And Obego is also in Ebonyi. This community is linked to Enugu State through Ihamufu. And that particular place have the presence of federal government through the Federal College of Education in Ihamufu. My minister, I want to tell you that rainy season is coming. This is a community in Nigeria that have a federal road, but they are traveling through with a donkey during rainy season. Ihamufu has the major hospital that can treat people from this part of Ebonyi State, but a bridge linking these two communities has collapsed. So the question this evening, if a governor of Ebonyi State can construct bridge to maintain unity, I want to challenge you, Minister, between 1999 and 2003, that bridge and the road was contained in national budget. It was read via Radio Nigeria, which I recorded, but because of want of time, I was a year one student then. It was not even measured. In the year 2011, that road was also contained in national budget. Up to today, there's no presence of even a localized made caterpillar, not to talk of. But the minister, the question I want to ask is, what is the federal government doing about Ubola for Nkalago, Ubegu Federal Highway? Thank you so much. protocols, all protocols are highly observed. My name is Archer Emmanuel. I am from Effium community in Ebonyi State. Please, the question I have is, we all know that Orin group is a recognized minority when it comes to Ebonyi State. So for the sake of equity, I strongly suggest that more attention should be paid to this minority group. My question is specifically to Effium Izambo Road. Since that road started, the awarding of that road in 2007, that road has not been completed today. It's just below 34 kilometers. So we urge the state government to actually do something about it. And secondly, during your campaign, Your Excellency, you visited Effium and promised to give them 3 commissioners, and now Effium doesn't have any commissioner in the state. And we are also not allergic to unity bridges. With the growing youth population in Effium, we also need higher institution in Effium. Thank you so much.
No personal issues. Question. Your name and question, please.
Hello, my name is Comrade Chief E.O. Duma, JP. Oh my God.
Silence, please. Question. Silence, please.
My name is Comrade Chief E.O. Duma, JP, Chairman TU Ebonyi State Council. My own is just very simple. It's a commendation to the governor of Ebonyi State. We are very happy with him for what he has done, but I have advice. For those people, for those projects he put in place, let him ensure that all those people is going to appoint to handle the matter, we are going to be people who have knowledge and competent to handle the matter. May God bless him. In addition to that, I commend him for what he has done for the reabsorption of the staff laid off during the merger of Federal Teaching Hospital and the Abakaliki Teaching Hospital. Thank you, Your Excellency, for doing a good job.
Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, my name is Leo Sobechi. I write for the Guardian newspaper. You said?
Please, we have a lot of noise coming from the background, and you know this program is being transmitted live. If you are tired, you can please go out and leave us to continue. So let us have your attention. Thank you.
Your name again?
Thank you. My name is Leo Sobechi. I said I write for the Guardian newspaper. First of all, I want to commend the Honorable Minister for this laudable project. But my observation is that I understand from my colleagues here that there's a checklist for the tour so that it will not amount to a jamboree. Next time or next year, when this project or this tour will be embarked upon, effort should be made to reach NUJ in the state and all the states with the checklist so that they will be guided on what to observe during the tour. Then, coming home to Ebonyi, I want to know, there is something that, like the minister said, that democracy is not all about proceed but processes. And there is synergy between legislation, the executive and the judiciary. But there's one painful aspect of all this good governance celebration, and that is about the suspension of a female legislator from the House of Assembly for 9 months. That constituency has been suspended. It is apathetic to democracy and good governance. Finally, since our colleague, the minister, has seen what effort the governor has done to digitize radio stations, I want to ask the governor when the state printing corporation should receive such upscale so that students who are coming from the university can have somewhere to have an hands-on experience and better their skills. Thank you very much.
My name is Amechi Onoha. I'm the editor of GL Business magazine. I'm based in Abuja. My question is, I want to suggest, it's a suggestion anyway, I want to suggest that drastic measures should be put in education in Ebonyi State. You know, if you go across the cities of this country, you see that mostly those people that hawk are majorly from Ebonyi. And those of us that go, I'm based in Abuja, and I suffer a lot emotionally when I see my younger Ebonians selling things. And I want to suggest also that people like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that are really into foundations should be inculcated in
should be contacted so that Ebonyi State can really go into collaboration with them to make sure that the education of this country, this state is really taken over. And also, we are arming to this GL Business Express. We teach young people on how to make it in business. I want to really suggest that I should be given the time to come to Ebonyi State and teach young people educationally, starting from secondary school, how to be sound entrepreneurially. This information age is not like the major formally mechanical age where somebody can be so old and will not have. This time around is a time information age, and if you call me, I can really come to do it. Thank you very much.
I hope you can pay for the bill. Don't advertise here.
Your Excellency, my name is Mazi Okemiri Alex, the Johannes Ndigbo Youth Leader, Ebonyi. Please, my question is, you know, Ebonyi State is the most obedient people. That is why they went to increasing and multiplying the obedience to the word of God. And because of that, we have more than enough youth. We have the greatest number of youth in this country. So my question now to the Honorable Minister, on your way, as you are supervising the good governance, you mentioned that you saw a woman from one state that lives in Ebonyi. So what I want you to know is that I want you to tell the president or whoever is concerned that they should also take care of our youth. Those people that are doing hawking and barrel pushing outside Ebonyi, that only the governor cannot do that job alone, cannot carry it alone. So I pray that by next time we hear from you, all the Ebonyi youths, instead of coming down to here, to jump out here and disturb our governor Elechi, they will be there celebrating that Labram Maku has done a great job for the unemployed. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, I am Chief Mrs. Christiana Ugezenta, First Vice President of National Council of Women's Societies. Please, may I start by my own appreciation, commendation. I want to commend my governor and the wife and his team for the wonderful work they have been doing for our state, especially this mother and child care initiative that have affected the lives of women and children. Daddy, I'm promising you that the Ebonyans will continue to give you support to read that fund that you are going to do. I want to appreciate also the Honorable Minister for Health for the work you are doing to make sure we are healthy. And finally, to our able Minister of Information, you are wonderful. You are a workaholic. You continue to tour. I joined in the tour. You continue to tour the whole of the place, doing thorough observation, doing thorough monitoring. So I urge you to continue. And the Lord Jesus will continue to be your pilot, so that at the end, all of you, the ministers, the team, will then assist our able president to make that change that we are praying for in this country, in Jesus' name.
Well, we've heard from the various sectors of the community. It is now my singular honor and privilege on your behalf to invite His Excellency, the Governor of Ebonyi State, Chief Martin Eleche, CON, to please come forward and respond to the issues raised. Your Excellency.
Your Excellencies, the Honorable Speaker, my Lord the Chief Judge, distinguished Senator, and all you people, the great men and women of Ebonyi State, I invite you to join me in welcoming in a special way our very distinguished guests. The Honorable Minister of Information, the Honorable Minister of Health, and the brigade of media representatives, civil society organizations, and the rest of them who are here on this National Good Governance Tour. It is indeed a thing of joy to hear these remarks based on observations, and I want to assure you that I am personally encouraged by what is happening. For my brothers and sisters of Ebonyi State, I think it is pertinent to remind ourselves that we have been having town hall meetings such as this. And we've had such meetings in the past, but not in the recent past. And we've had, in addition to that, tours of project sites providing logistics for market traders, for civil society organizations, for the press, for the Christian Association of Nigeria, to go to our different sites, including our traditional rulers, to observe what we are doing, and in subsequent town hall meetings, express their feelings. But this is a different type, having regard to the high-level manpower, the high-level media organizations, and representations, and the fact that we are reaching out to every corner of the world. I am indeed grateful to the organizers, to all of you for your patience, for your thought-provoking questions. Unfortunately, we have been apologizing and will continue to apologize in that all expectations in terms of responses to questions will not be met. Time is not on our side. The visiting team has displayed a lot of resilience, and I continue to commend the Honorable Minister for not breaking down and taking everything in its stride, and I am indeed very grateful. The questions, the reactions remind us of so many things. I recall one of my professors during my student days, a Belgian, a great economist and a lawyer, always reminded us in class that one problem with developing nations is that they are so much in a hurry that they want to do in 10 years what took Europe 100 years to achieve. I say that with great emphasis because here in Ebonyi State, I have talked of conflict of priorities. Everything is a priority. Education is a priority. Health is a priority. Infrastructure is a priority, and so on and so forth. And that leads us to the chicken and egg question. Is it the egg that gave rise to a chicken, or is it the chicken that gave birth to an egg? In such a conflict of priorities, how do we adjust? Poverty level, with no income, everything is needed, everything must be done overnight. The manpower is not developed, yet we have to provide the manpower at the same time as the things that the manpower itself should provide. That is the clear picture. That is the clear picture. And therefore, it calls for patience. I believe that this administration, more than anyone else in the past, that is talking nationally, has proved to Nigerians that there is no alternative to democracy. And because we've been in the military administration for so long, transition is not just handing over the baton of governance. The transition of attitude, the transition of minds, the transition of ways of doing things, that takes not one day, but decades. And so, in the mindset of the past, we are not finding it easy to accept radical changes that are required to do the things that we should do. Everything we try to do here received stout opposition, except perhaps the acquisition of the army land, which we now call Ochudo City. The military were full of understanding, and between the 20th of September 2007 and the 4th of December that same year, the military transferred to us the land we now call Ochudo City. But it was not so easy with the others to shift the stone crushers from the roadsides to where they are now. Was a real war. But thank God it worked at last. The earliest abuses have now changed to praises. We've done the same with timber dealers. At last they agreed to relocate. And I must thank the chairman of Abakaliki local government area for his dogged effort, which gave us that success. It is not so with the rice millers. I wish we had time, as we planned, for this body to go through the existing rice mill in Abakaliki, where the famous Abakaliki rice comes from. You would perhaps weep. And that informed the decision to relocate rice milling industry to 3 different areas in the state. So, what I am saying is that because of resistance, it is not easy for government to do things as fast as we would want. The dualization of the road meant destruction of landed property against our wish, but it was a compelling imperative. And so also with many other things. Now, the questions are many. I was able to jot down 44. Certainly, I can't do justice to even 1/4 of that. How am I managing our resources to do what we are doing with so little from a federation account. Well, just see our books from the Ministry of Finance. We are strict. You know, here people say, this man is tight-fisted. He does not share money. I will not share money. I will share projects. Yes, the capital market assisted us when we looked for assistance. You know, one thing we should say again is that the Yoruba adage that when a traveler is on the road and suddenly discovers a tree falling across the road, he goes back to get an axe to cut off the tree and clear the way. By the time he comes back, another tree has fallen on top of the first one. It is not the first tree that he begins to cut. It is the second one on top, so that he will have access to the first one. This is what we meet every day in public service, in public administration. And that may give the impression that certain projects are being abandoned. We try to do things that will help us do others. Yes, we started with our big plans, including the renovation of the hospitals. Then came 1, the global economic meltdown, 2, the Ezilo crisis, and first thing must be done first. But first thing is no longer what you started first, but what will enable you do what you started first and others. We went to the capital market. It is a huge success. We are not going to leave a crushing burden to the next administration. The monthly repayment is arranged in such a way that by September 2015, that debt should be cleared completely. In other words, June, July, August, September. When I leave office, it is only for 4 months that the next administration will continue to repay, I think it's about 560 million naira a month. After 4 months of my exit, the debt shall have been liquidated. But the benefits will be there forever. Part of it is used in building the market. Part of it went into the water treatment plant in Oferekwe. Part of it went into some roads. Part of it went into the hotel we saw today. And these benefits will outlast 2015. That is it. Hassan Ibrahim, rebranding, road, etc., etc. Policeman not yet rewarded. Yes, thank you for that. It is true our attitudinal change philosophy is anchored on 3 planks. 1 is reward for good deeds, to encourage people to behave well. The second is sanction for wrong deeds. And the third is intensive public enlightenment for them to know the difference. It is our intention. We parlayed with the recipient, proposed recipient, whether to build a house for him in Abakaliki or elsewhere. He finally chose his own state capital in Lafia. That had long been completed, but the daily business of government didn't give us the time to handle it, to do the transfer. And there was a change of regime there, change of guard. The governor who was there at the time we started is no more the person now. So I had to find my way into the new establishment. Only 3 weeks ago, I asked the SSG to go and assess the place. Maybe it should be given a facelift. And they told me it requires a fence also. That I didn't know before, that we didn't provide a fence. So we are asking the policeman to please be patient. We are on our way to handing it over. Why support mission hospitals instead of state hospitals? That question does not arise, really. We are not doing that at the expense of state hospitals. Like was said in the last 48 hours, we've awarded contracts to refurbish our hospitals. The thing we planned to do in 2008 before we were disallowed by the global economic meltdown. We are doing it now. But what we are giving to the mission hospitals is a paltry sum compared with what we give to state hospitals. And they manage it better. The testimony is that since we started giving them that financial assistance, maternal mortality rate has dropped drastically. And that's why we were so encouraged that we decided to double what we have been giving them. It is very well used because the private sector manages better than the government. Ebonyi State indigenes are hawkers in the streets. What are you doing about that? I had said yesterday, I believe when we were at the market, that along the streets of Lagos, Port Harcourt, Aba, Onitsha, and elsewhere, you find Abuja children who chose to be hawkers on the streets instead of attending school, which is given to them freely. We will still go the extra mile to invite them to own shops, lock-up shops, and stores. Don't mind how we do it. If we reveal the way now, you will block us with other tactics. So, but we'll bring them home and enable them to do their business in a safer environment. Very huge infrastructure. Do you have enough civil servants to occupy the secretariat? You saw the reaction of the public. There was laughter and joke. Before we embarked on that project, we took census of the workforce in the civil service, ministry by ministry. We also made provision for expansion in the service. We also took into account that not every government worker will be there. There are still other establishments that will not have to be there. So the simple answer is that the structures you have, the 11 blocks we have, will not be surplus to our need. You started regional water schemes and you claim 100 million liters. When will you complete that? Within this administration. That is the answer. Within this administration. The last batch of pipes will arrive Port Harcourt between the 10th and 15th of this month. Today is 1st of February. Yes, in 2 weeks' time, you will have all the pipes needed to reticulate the water from Oferekpe to Abakaliki. And we expected that the reticulation should be completed by March this year, but the contractors are saying not before June. So June is still before the end of this year. And that of Okau has not attained the same level because the contractors were unfortunate to start on a lower ground. And when a flood came, the flood submerged the works and the contractors had to transfer to a new ground. That is why it hasn't attained the same level of completion. But I'm assuring you that we will not, it is not one of the projects you can say are abandoned or uncompleted. I have said before, a time without number, and I repeat it here and again, that the only projects that will not be completed by the time we get out of stage are: one, the reticulation of the water to all nooks and crannies of Ebonyi State, because we are linking all the 13 local government headquarters, and that will entail 360 kilometers of primary pipelines, to be followed by 230 kilometers of secondary pipelines into communities. So it is something that will happen like a relay race, in which one administration will hand over to another and hand over to another until it is done. But the federal government is sympathetic with us. The Federal Ministry of Finance, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, and even the World Bank are sympathetic with us and are helping us to find out quicker ways of financing these projects so that they will not be over-delayed. That is one. The other project that we are not likely to complete is the university, the new campus, because it has been estimated at $500 million. Where we are now, you will agree with me, does not have the ambience of a university. It started as a poultry farm in the old eastern region. Then during the war, it became Agricultural Development Corporation headquarters. And then the military used it as a 2nd Brigade headquarters. And finally, the university moved there as a temporary site. And so, the structures are not properly placed. There is no planning there. And if you are anxious to have a university, you must give a university that is befitting of its name. The ambience alone is 50% of the training you inculcate into students. And that's what we are asked to do. If you see the master plan, you will know that we have a vision. But it will not be finished immediately, because it must be done thoroughly, and it must not be done in a way that will deface the environment. Lagos, you said international market, how complete? Well, I've answered that. 34 bridges of unity, recently news of border clashes. These are unrelated issues. The 34 bridges of unity are not responsible for the border clashes. Neither would you have stopped border clashes just because you had bridges of unity. The loss of lives is unfortunate, and you might have read in the papers so many things about that conflict. I've asked my lawyers to give me their opinion regarding the allegation by the honorable member representing that area in the Federal House that I was responsible for the invasion, that I sponsored the invasion. So I have asked my lawyers to look into it, because it is a serious allegation, and no amount of impunity, or rather immunity in office should excuse that. And I will insist on a proof or else a withdrawal with necessary penalty. So the loss of human lives is tragic, and we are preaching everywhere and every day that there must be peace. Here our administration is anchored on the platform of peace, and it pains us that our lives are threatened and destroyed so often. I'm told to hurry up with the construction of, with the production in Ebonyi State of rice and centers, they said no roads to the place and no water to the place. I should hurry up. I should hurry up. To that I say, yes, sir, I will hurry up. I also heard that the VVF Center was a conduit pipe, but I didn't hear the details. I wish I knew the details of why it is a conduit pipe. Earlier in the day, I said that when my wife came back from her investigations, it took 6 weeks before I could give her audience. And that tells you the way we were relating. Everybody was busy. She had her own program, I had mine. Eventually, the program was sold to Algon. The local government chairman met and agreed to assist, to contribute. The beginning was so difficult that even the SSS wanted to know why that money should be raised by local government. But when they found out the purpose, the way it was being handled, they were satisfied. And if it was a conduit pipe, meaning that it was an establishment that would help me corner funds, I don't think I would have allowed the federal government to take it over. I should have allowed it to remain for me to continue siphoning your money to somewhere. But please try and investigate. If you feel strongly, go there, ask questions. Don't just say things because you are unhappy with yourself. Thank you. Well, no division of politicians between Abuja group and home group. We thank God for that. There is no magic about it. We vowed that, and if you read my 39-year road to Ebonyi State, the concluding chapters recommended strongly that Ebonyi State should be governed with an attitude that does not endorse bitterness. There must be an attitude that overlooks rancor and prejudice and get along. It was Meka Ojukwu, may his soul rest in peace, who said that when a 45-ton trailer is speeding through the countryside, puppies see it and get frightened and start backing. But the action of backing does not stop the driver from zooming ahead. So we've tried to overlook so many disagreeables by way of utterances, by way of actions, because we think the best thing to do is to position our minds above rancor and prejudice. And we are on good terms with our brothers Well, the Ministry of Information, Minister of Information, you are welcome, sir. That is not a question. But I don't know what was said about non-completion of a bridge in Ezza North, because I'm not aware of that bridge. The two bridges we inspected yesterday were all in Ezza South, one of which was commissioned by the First Lady of the Federal Republic, the other one not commissioned. So I'm not aware of any bridge work in Ezza North, as was alleged. Why do we patronize Bulletin? Yes, when we heard of Bulletin and read their literatures, we thought they were going to give us good service. But in order not to waste your time, the contract awarded to Bulletin was cancelled many years ago, and another company completed the project. That's the Zama Oshiri Bridge, together with the road. And part of the roads that Bulletin did, which failed, is being reconditioned now. Attention on bridges and roads and less attention to primary health. That is not true. That is obviously not true. We have been diligent and committed to our MDG projects, and it is unfortunate time did not allow us to go into any of them. But as we are talking, we must tell you that we have 63 primary health centers completed in our relationship with the MDG program. And we wrote to the presidency saying that instead of building more, we should halt a bit and train the necessary manpower and equip those hospitals before expanding. The council chairmen are responsible for the staffing and furnishing and equipping of those primary health centers. And it does not, what we are doing there does not show an unconcern for primary health matters. Situation of former EB workers sacked in 2009. I'm afraid I don't want to deceive you with false information. I don't recall what the issues are, but they had been discussed previously in the State Executive Council meeting. You know, there are laws in our labor relations. You don't just treat anybody anyhow just because he's in need. You have to follow the laws, the regulations under which they were employed. And anybody who is still needed in the service, why should we leave him to employ new ones? It is easier to work with those who are trained. But when an inquiry is conducted and many people are found wanting or have falsified their service age, you have to do what the law prescribes. We didn't do anything either with vengeance or with bitterness or with hatred. But if there are people who feel injured, there is always room for appeal. A plan for cultural promotion. Very briefly, the Honorable Commissioner of Culture and Tourism has developed a big program, but there is so much we can bite at a time. We don't want to do everything overnight, even when we know we are incapable of that. But if you see the documentary on the cultural futures of Ebonyi State, you know it is a rich area. And that's why we started with the provision of cultural centers to enable us retain our cultural values and ensure that we minimize the conflict between culture and religion within the state, and that is working. Last night we were treated to cultural dances. We don't want such to die away. There are areas that will promote tourism, and we are handling them together, but we cannot do everything at a time. Between the 1st of November and second week of December, Ebonyi State had been barraged with foreign visitors, interested investors, those who want to invest in agriculture, in mineral exploration, in power development, and so on and so forth. I can tell you that we signed an MOU with an American company to generate not 200, not 1,000, but 2,000 megawatts of electricity before March 2015. And only last week, our principal partners signed the production agreement of the turbines in South Korea. So that is coming, and when that happens, the culture, because there will be more money at hand, tourism will be focused on. There are too many people worrying us now. They want to come in, but we must do the more essential things first, things that will promote other activities. If you have light, if you have money, you have water, then it becomes easier to do other things, including siting of industries in the rural areas and not just in the township. So bear with us. We are only a sweet 16. We don't want to attempt to do in 10 years what Europe took 100 years to achieve. For our brothers in the diaspora, we like you, and we are waiting for you to come home with some pound sterling and dollars to come and invest. There is room for investment. I've said private hospitals, even private schools, if you can run them properly. Government is carrying a heavier load than it can manage. And come home and share with us your experiences in the diaspora so that we can manage ourselves a bit better. Minimum wage in Ebonyi State, full implementation. For the umpteenth time, we are owing nobody even 1 kobo in minimum wage. The Wage Review Commission made it clear that that law was not wage review law. What the federal government did was to say that nobody should be paid less than 18,000 naira. Federal government did not say we should pay everybody according to federal scale. No. Otherwise, why are we in a federation? Every state has to pay according to its ability, provided nobody is paid less than 18,000 naira. And we started paying ahead of the federal government that made the law. Go and verify that. And we also made sure that nobody was superseded by the upgrading of the lowest wage earner to 18,000. We made sure nobody was superseded. But when we were about to announce the arrangement, some people decided to go on strike, not following even the rules of industrial action. And we went on air to say, come to work or else no pay. Those who obeyed us, and they are in the great majority, were paid from, is it September or October that year? September. They are in the majority. But those who refused to work and chose to disrupt social and economic activities in the state capital and elsewhere, we said, we will handle you, not as terrorists that you are, but as our prodigal children. I said, no salary for that month. We made it clear. No work, no pay. Take me to court. I'm ready for it. And show me where I offended you. We were negotiating and we were proving that we were going to do things in your interest. You wouldn't even allow us conclude, and you went on strike. So, in order not to waste your time, ladies and gentlemen, we are not owing anybody 1 kobo on minimum wage. Cement deposit in Afikpo South or limestone deposit, he wants an investigation. That's Charles Otu. It is not only limestone that we are investigating. We have an understanding with a Spanish firm to investigate coal. And we've written to the Nigerian embassy in Madrid to quicken the process of visa issuance so that those people will come. They promised to come last month end. We are still waiting for them. And when they come, they will investigate every type of mineral in Afikpo South and Afikpo North, including oil, which some people say we have there. So be patient, I beg you. Well, the other questions were sent to the honorable ministers, yes. Civil societies wanted to pay courtesy calls. I want to apologize to them. They are not the only ones. They are not the only ones. But I must say that one problem we are having in our transition is that everybody thinks only of the governor. Nobody thinks of commissioners. Nobody thinks of permanent secretaries. It is wrong. The important thing is that your problem is solved. By whomsoever it is solved is immaterial. People book appointments. They won't even disclose to you in advance what they are coming for, so that you prepare and get the relevant staff to be in attendance. The result being that, in the end, decisions may be taken, but no implementation, or that clarifications that were necessary may not be obtained. And the number is just unmanageable. And so I say, bear with us. We are doing our best, but please try to let us know in advance what you are coming for. Sometimes we may give you a satisfactory reply without you having to be in the office. The Honorable Minister will add a little to that, but give just a few more minutes. And so, make use of that public opinion box which you see at the gate, at the entrance to the government house. We used to get responses, but no longer. We say, whatever problems you have, send us a document. You may use false name if you think you will be arrested. But let us know your problems, and we give you an answer. Maybe we direct you to a particular ministry or ask you to come to my office. That is my advice. The cattle ranch at Oshiri, that is moribund, that is federal government. Takeover of State Teaching Hospital is a lamentable tragedy that has happened to some students. That's what I'm being told. And the cement industry, I promised in Isheke what is happening about that. Very briefly, the takeover of the teaching hospital was properly examined. It is in our interest, and there is a synergy between the federal government and the state government. Maybe, just maybe, the Honorable Minister of Health, who is here and a professional doctor, will give you more information on that. On the Isheke cement industry, well, when I believe we should be more charitable to those in government and quote them not out of context but accurately. Yes, we set out to establish a cement factory anywhere in the state where there were enabling conditions. We thank the people of Ebonyi local government area that they gave us their land and quickly signed an undertaking to give us free hand to investigate. We went into it with reputable companies. We found a lot of mineral deposits, but the quality after lab analysis fell short of what is required for a cement factory. We made that open to the public. Going 50 meters down, and we found that in Edomie community alone, we could have as much as 37.5 billion metric tons of limestone. But the quality fell short of what we needed, and so we could not use it for cement works. Other investigations are still coming up. I think at this stage, I may allow the honorable ministers to intervene, and if there is more time, I will still come out again. But please, the High Pact, that was an intervention program according to the administration of that time. We are also intervening now according to our own perception of how best we can do it. And people have given testimony here that our students are all over the world doing master's and doctorate degree programs based on their performance. Thank you for your kind attention. God bless us all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We want to thank His Excellency, the Governor of Ebonyi State, for the justice he has made in answering the questions put before him. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I will now invite the Honorable Minister of Information and the person of Labaran Maku to come and answer his own barrage of questions that were put across to him. Honorable Minister of Information.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Ebonyi State, Your Excellency, the First Lady, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please may I have your attention, because we are in the last lap now of this public forum. First, let me express my appreciation to the people of Ebonyi State for the strong interest in this public forum. This is democracy in action. And that is the reason why we set up this Citizens Forum, to enable people point out those things they feel government can do better. We are not with all the answers. Our leaders, we are not God. We don't have all the solutions, and we are not all seeing. So there are certain projects located in your area that may need attention, but because every day leaders are preoccupied, they need this kind of engagement to remind them so that they can address those problems. But let me thank the governor, because he has proved that he is ready to engage his people, and I appreciate the fact that he came to answer those questions one by one. Let me thank you very, very much, because the reason for this forum is for this type of encounter. We will go home better than we came. I wish the women can give us some silence. Now, in the course of the questions, a number of questions came to the way of the federal government, particularly on roads. I want to call the Director of Federal Highways, is he here? Who is working in Eastern Nigeria, to provide some answers to those questions, then I will cap up. Because he's here, he's the one that has the details of what the federal government is doing here. And I decided to call them so that if there are certain specific things, because I'm not here every day, he may be in a position to give me some of the answers, then I will cap up. It will be very, very brief indeed, so that we'll get to know some of the few things that you asked about. Yes.
Your Excellency, let me stand on the protocol already existing. My name is Engineer Godwin Egieye, Director, Highways Southeast. I want to address the issues that were raised on federal highways. The first one was about bulletin. Bulletin in Southeast was doing two projects for us, Oba Unewi and Abakaliki Africo. When we observed that he was not meeting up with the program, the decision was made to ease him out. As you can see, he's no longer on site. We have two contractors who are working steadily on those projects. In the issue of slow progress of work, there are some projects that actually were not moving well, but not all the projects. The reason was that some of them told us that they have problem with security, but now that problem has been solved, and many of them are back to site. He said some of them came in at the time this team was coming on visitation. That's not very true. We know that in December, most of them go on break in December, and they resume early January. And that was why you didn't see them in December. But for the sake of Enugu-Port Harcourt road, the president insists that some contractor must stay behind to fix that road. And that was why those on that road were working in December. The issue of Usuka-Obolafo Kalagu road, that road is in two sections. The first section is from Usuka to Ikem. That has been awarded to Mife and is working on that. The section is talking about where we have 3 bridges is on procurement. Actually on that road this year, there is an appropriation for 700 million to fix that road. And I'm sure the problem he complained about will be taken care of. He talked about Boko to Benue State border. That I will answer simply by saying that road is not a federal road. So we may not address that issue. Abakaliki Enugu says it's a single carriageway. For now, the federal government has awarded for a single carriageway. I believe in near future it will be dualized. The issue of the Niger Second Bridge. The Niger Second Bridge, the government decided to procure that 2 PPP. And they are at the stage of choosing the preferred bidder. And I'm sure very soon you will see action on that road. Those were the issues raised on highways. Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Now, I thought you should get the statistics as to where we are. The second Niger bridge, not the Niger Second Bridge, because they were reversing the name. Now, the second Niger bridge, the contract for consultancy for the design has been awarded. The process for procurement through PPP, federal government PPP, is on. So on that one, I can tell you that the process is actually on. Now, the second Niger bridge is not a simple project. It's not like building a 2-span bridge that you will build overnight. It will involve a lot of resources. But the president, the federal government, we are committed to that bridge. And as you have heard here, the consultancy contract has been awarded. The procurement of it through PPP is going on. And the public will be briefed as we make progress on the second Niger bridge. Now, there are places we could not visit, yes, unfortunately, because I believe even if you stay here for 1 week, there will be places we won't be able to visit. The idea is not to go to each and every project located in a particular state, because that will mean that we have to stay maybe the whole month in your state. Now, this is a delegation that is looking at sample projects across sectors and using those samples to make judgment. There are other information that we get. We don't have to visit. There's statistics of what is happening in all the places. We have them. And even if we're unable to go to a particular place, the information we have from our field officers will be factored into our judgment. Now, why are chief executives of newspapers not with me? Now, I want to answer that question this way. One, the program for National Good Governance Tour was presented to all the editors in their conference at Uyo, in Akwa Ibom State. And all of them bought onto the Good Governance Tour, all of them. We presented it, they approved it, they were happy with it, and the representatives of all the newspapers are with me. So even when you don't see their editors, their own reporters designated to cover us are with us on the tour, and they field their questions to all the newspapers. So I hope that that question is addressed. As for the NUJ here, I am surprised by that question because part of the arrangement for this is that we send advance party to meet with the local media, and we usually have a committee in each state that prepares before we arrive, because we know that even after we have left a particular state, the journalists on ground are those that will follow up, particularly on reporting what we have seen. So the local journalists or the correspondent chapel and others are actually involved in the tour that we are doing. But if there is any reason, and I think the question was asked by the Guardian, if I'm not mistaken, correspondent here. So if you have any, maybe for any reason you are not on ground or you are not part of the discussion, I'll be surprised, but I'll find out. There is a local committee of journalists, including Federal Information representative as well as NOAA that we create, and we held several meetings. We sent advance party to hold several meetings with the people on ground before we arrived, so that we will integrate you onto what we are doing. And all the sample projects we were visiting were also made available. So please try to find out, maybe if you are not available, find out from your other reporters. They will tell you that they were all integrated onto the program. My brother asked, why is there no ministry of the disabled? Well, the physically challenged, that's the appropriate term to use. There is great ability in disability. So there are people who are physically challenged that are more productive than those of us that are standing on our feet. So it's a question of tapping on their talents. Let me say that the federal government is doing a lot for the physically challenged through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development. Ministries are not just set up on the basis of a specific problem. If you are going to set up a ministry for virtually every single problem in the world, then maybe we will have more than 1,000 ministries. But under the present arrangement, people are even saying that the ministries are too many now, the ones we have now. There are countries that won't have up to this number of ministries. If the constitution does not specify that we should have a minister from every state of the federation, I am sure that we will have less ministries than we have now. We don't need all this number of. What is important is to have departments in every ministry that will address specific problems that we find in society. And the physically challenged come under the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, and federal government is doing a lot of programs and a lot of projects through that ministry for the physically challenged in our society. So I will encourage you maybe to link up and find out what is happening through the states, the sister ministry in the states, which will then be able to let you know some of the federal programs that we are doing for the physically challenged. As to why they are not on this tour, it's a more difficult question to answer. What happens is that we didn't choose the members for this tour. We asked the various stakeholders to give us their representatives. So, unfortunately, none of them sent to us a physically challenged person. If they did, we would have been very glad to carry them along. And the mere fact that you are participating also shows that you may not be physically on the tour, but you have the opportunity to respond through this forum that we have set to enable those who are not there to give us their own insights. I will want to, the Oji River Power Station, I will carry that home because I do not know the specific program on Oji River now. But I called while we were talking, I called the Minister of Power, the Minister of State Power, and as I was speaking to you, they were looking through the file to find out exactly what is going on relating to the question you asked on Oji, the old Oji River Power Station. Although you may not get the answer right here, but I believe that we'll be able to forward it to you because we can't get all the answers. But I know that there's a comprehensive power program going on, and some of the power projects are spread across, and the federal government is building quite a number of power plants. Some other sites are earmarked for privatization. Don't forget that the reprogram of government now is no longer to generate power directly, but even privatize the existing power plants. Because in the past, we ran aground all those federal institutions. And so what the president is doing now is to invite at a point in the 70s and until this power reform program, it was unlawful for any person who wanted to generate or transmit power in Nigeria to do so. The law said that the federal government would take control of the so-called commanding heights of the economy, and power was one of the commanding heights. Now we have found that we are not commanding those heights, and we therefore want to invite the private sector to be on the driver's seat. That's exactly what we are doing now, and that's why we are seeing improved power supply. So I believe Oji River and all other power plants which were not properly run, there is a comprehensive program for them. And we are building even additional ones. But even after building, such as the Zungiro power plant we are building in Kaduna State,
as well as the Mambila Plateau Power Plant, which will give us about 2,900 megawatts of electricity. We are going to eventually hand over those plants to the private sector. So if there are people in Ebonyi that may be interested in the Oji River power station, I'm sure they could start thinking about it now that it is going back to the private sector. The question about the cattle ranch, while you were talking to me, I called my colleague, the Minister of Agriculture, and what we found was that the cattle ranch was earmarked for privatization, and severally it was also advertised. But unfortunately, up to now, we haven't gotten a private sector interest that is prepared to run the ranch. The truth was, all those river basins and the cattle ranch were established in the 70s when government thought we could run all agricultural businesses. They never succeeded. No government is going to set up a cattle ranch now and run it. If we do so, it will be wasted government money. So all the cattle ranches across the country, including existing infrastructure that government were unable to run successfully, we have earmarked them for privatization. So, and the processes are going on. Government doesn't want to go directly and start running agricultural businesses. We are using the private sector. The results are already coming in, but we will not succeed at every point at the same time. But as we go on, there will be interested parties that are willing to come. So if there are citizens of this state or indigenes that believe they can run that ranch successfully, it is already in the market, looking for those that are willing to invest. I think those were mainly some of the questions that were asked. There was also the question about oil discovered at Afipo. Again, that one I will take home to find out, because sometimes we hear a lot of stories that oil has been discovered. When people go to bath in the river and they see something that looks like they will come back and tell you that oil has been discovered in several places. Now, I pray that oil will be discovered so that Ebonyi can join the league of oil-producing states. But this kind of information is subject to very expensive technical research and prospecting. So I believe that the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources has mapped all the the various places in Nigeria where people said or suspect there could be oil, and a lot of research, a lot of prospecting is going on. And I hope one day that Ebonyi will join, since the surrounding states are also producing oil. It might be your luck to join next. But this is an information we need to work on before we can confirm your own hope. The same thing goes for the limestone that somebody discussed on this. And I think, lastly, I want to discuss bulletin. The question has been asked. I think bulletin has been, the contracts have been withdrawn from bulletin. All the contracts that are handling the southeast and other sites. Maybe they are a good company, but they have not been able to deliver on results in some of the places we tried them. And so the federal government has revoked a number of those projects, including, I think, the one from, maybe it's not there, there's another contract from Otuko along the road to Ogbulafo 9th Mile. Those contracts have been revoked. So the Federal Ministry of Works right now is taking stock of all contractors that are not performing. And we're revoking all contracts that are not working. The purpose of the good governance store is to actually assess the performance of private service providers, including contractors. I can assure you that any contractor that falls short of the capacity to deliver, the contract will be revoked. And where you are taking government money, you will be compelled to refund. These are exactly the processes that are going on now. I'll conclude this question and answer session by saying we want to really thank you, Your Excellency, and the people of Ebonyi State. You have held us longer than any other citizens forum that we have staged in any part of the country so far. And it shows clearly, that you are really very, very interested in this democracy tour that is going on around the country. But I want everybody to go home with this assurance. Honestly, where else in this continent will governments call citizens to debate with them about their programs? Mention one country in this continent. Even Europe, I have not seen public citizens forum organized by federal and state governments to enable their citizens to debate them on the issues and their projects. Now we are doing this because our democracy is in need of being invigorated. We believe you too could have the answers. I am very fulfilled today because of the high level of participation under this program here in Ebonyi. And I want to give you the assurance that our democracy is working and results are being achieved in several sectors. Nigeria is not the same country you used to have in 1999. If you just put your state on the map, where were you in 1999? Where are you now? And if in every state people can put this question on the blackboard and ask, they will discover that even as we disagree among ourselves, even as we know we can still do better, our democracy is working. And this is the main purpose of this encounter. And I will assure you that both the federal government and the state government, a lot of work is going on. And at the federal level, we are determined to ensure that Nigeria changes. And the president and all of us are working hard to deliver on our various mandates. That doesn't mean that there will be no questions. That doesn't mean that there are no challenges. The challenges are the reasons why we're in leadership. We will continuously and patiently work with Nigerians to change this country. And I want to thank the president, thank the governors and all others for allowing this program to take place to reinvigorate our democracy. Thank you, people of Ebonyi, and I wish you all of you every success. I will call my brother. Before I drop, my brother and colleague was there and he was facing the other side. I'm talking about the former Deputy Governor, Professor Chigozie Ogbu, who has been sitting here with us. And I want to thank him for his participation and for coming here to be part of this forum. Also, somebody said because Ebonyi was doing well, maybe we should give them more money. Well, your son is in charge of the revenue mobilization and fiscal allocation commission. I hope he has not been giving you money secretly from the but I think that because he's on the driver's seat, I want you to come and answer that question. He will do so with Minister of Health because some questions were given to them. Thank you for your attention.
On the 23rd of December 2011, the Memorandum of Understanding between the federal government and the government of Ebonyi State was signed in respect of the takeover of the Ebonyi State University Teaching Hospital. Now, the first thing the president did, this is one election promise that the president made to Ebonyans at the Abakaliki Township Stadium. Because after discussing with the governor of the state, he made that promise during his campaign. And it shows clearly now that politicians promise and they can deliver. And that's what Mr. President did. So within a few weeks of that promise, remember he directed the Minister of Health, we began action working with the state government on how first we are upgrading the Federal Medical Center to a teaching hospital and then taking over the facilities and personnel of Ebonyi State University Hospital. So 23rd of December 2011, the MOU was signed between the two governments. Now, for those of you who can recollect, what on that date that we are
taking over, we are just about 600 members of staff out of 1,200. But since that time, altogether, it is 900. Now the 300 that we are not taking were mainly those who were in departments that have already been outsourced in the FMC. For federal hospitals, some departments have already been outsourced during the reform years. This includes catering, it includes security, it includes things like cleaning of the environment, and so on and so forth. So there were criteria. Then those who were on contract, remember that some people were on contract and every year they renew. They were cut off in the middle. Once it's not been renewed, you have not been renewed. But the truth was this. Nobody was ever retrenched. If you were no longer going to be part of Federal Teaching Hospital, you still remained staff of the Ebonyi State government. And the governor had already long directed, and this has been carried out, go and report to the Ministry of Health of the Ebonyi State government, you are going to be redeployed. Anybody that has not done that is apparently that maybe he's not renewing his contract or he's just not interested in working. I'm saying it before the governor, I'm saying before the SSG, before the head of service. Nobody was retrenched in that arrangement. Nobody, absolutely none. Now the other question has to do with the medical school. Ebonyi State, through the Ebonyi State University, still runs its medical school. This is the corporation. It is unique. The state still has a medical school, but the teaching hospital is federal. Now, for 1 year, Ebonyi State University could not admit. It has to do with problems they had with the medical council. It's not only Ebonyi State that had that problem. We must begin to show discipline. There's no room more for impunity in Nigeria. President Jonathan has said it clearly. So many medical schools, not only in Ebonyi State, were over-admitting more than their quota. And so when the medical council struck, some of them were given sanctions that they can no longer admit for some years until they clear a certain number. It affected our university, so that was why. But the medical school still belongs to Ebonyi State. Unless Ebonyi State doesn't want to admit medical students, they will always continue to admit. Now they are admitting. The same thing happened to our Department of Nursing. That one is still under consideration. For the last 4 years, we have not admitted fresh nursing students in our Ebonyi State University because we are admitting. It's not only this university that was affected. There's no more room for impunity, but very soon, Ebonyi State University will resume admitting nursing students. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Ebonyi State, the wife and the Deputy Governor, the Honorable Minister, let me join the Governor and other Ebonyians to welcome you and your team to Ebonyi State. I want to say that you should not be surprised with the transformation going on in Ebonyi State. The Governor of the state was one of the authors of the vision and mission of Ebonyi State. And when the author is on the driver's seat, all he requires is support and encouragement, and we are determined to do that. Well, how I wish it is that easy to simply increase the allocation to the state. But I want to say very honestly that revenue allocation in Nigeria is a product of the Constitution and other relevant laws. The Constitution provides that there are some proxies and indices that must be reflected in the sharing of revenue in this country. That is why you must give oil-producing states and other states which their natural resources contribute to the federation account 13%. It's a constitutional issue. The Constitution also provides that you must reflect other indices like population. And you know, we do not derive population on our own. We refer to all the relevant agencies of government, like the Population Commission. They provide the statistics based on which we determine the indices that a state or local government will get. There are other relevant laws that determine, like the Allocation Act, that determine what percentage of the federation account should go to the federal, to the state, and to the local government. For instance, that law provides that the population should carry 30%. It also provides a percentage that should go to federal government. In other words, the law provides how it's going to be shared within states among themselves, within local government among themselves, and among the three tiers of government. It is not something you just walk in or walk out and change. It must go through the process of amending the law. In fact, the law is not what it ought to be. However, we have an opportunity now. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission has commenced the process of reviewing the revenue allocation formula. This is the time for us to stand up and make inputs on what we want. I want to encourage all of us. When the commission will visit the Southeast, we should make appropriate presentation. When we call for memorandum, you should not feel it is a federal government issue. The local governments in Ebonyi State should make input. The state government should make input. Individuals, organized private sector should make input. Because once it's concluded and it becomes law, there is nothing we can do. So please, this is a time, and I hope before the end of this year, a new revenue formula will be available, and make sure your input is considered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the chairman of the Revenue Allocation Committee, Chief Elias Mbam. He's a son of the soil. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost there. We have come to the end of this program. We started with prayers. We're going to close with prayers. And this time around, I will invite Yahya Umar of the FRCN to come forward and lead us in the closing prayers the Muslim way. Yahya Umar.
We're in prayers. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin ar-rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alayhim ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim waladdallin. Amin. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. All praises and thanks goes to the Almighty. We thank God for everything. Success, progress, and continuous unity in this country is what we pray for. May the Lord Almighty grant us peace all the time. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Can we all rise for the national anthem?
this is where we are drawing the curtain on the live transmission of this program, Citizens Forum of the Good Governance Tour in Ebonyi State. On behalf of the outside broadcast crew, I am Fortunate Ozo. Thanks for watching.